What is up, Fantasy Alarm family? Welcome on into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm going every day now, Bender. I just decided every day 1 o'clock for the season. Who cares? Let's go. Rock and
Let's
roll.
do it.
Yesterday we did waivers. Today we're going to pop in. We're going to do trades. We're going to do some DFS. We're going to hit on all that stuff. Tomorrow we're going to do lineups. But before we get to that, you know what we did? We scheduled ourselves. We've been having so much fun with these drafters drafts. We figured, why don't we get the family in on one? So we set one up with the squad here, 10 team, and we're drafting for this week. So that's that's how we're going to start it off today with a little context on the week 2 with a little draft action here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There, everybody right on the screen.
So just a regular old 1 week draft here, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. It rocks.
Like it.
And we've been doing like the big contests, but I figure why not do it with the family? I also discovered something in setting this up that I'm not sure if you were aware of. I definitely was not aware of it. That you can make moves after the draft.
I saw that.
I did not know that until today. So basically how it works is we're going to do a quick 7-round draft. We're going to draft a lineup, no bench, no nothing. And then after the draft, you can go in and make up to 10 moves. This is the same actually for the big events, you know, the big weekly ones where you can win thousands of dollars, but you can make changes. So like in one of the ones I did, Joe Burrow went undrafted, and I'm thinking about making a swap. I would have to drop Jalen Hurts, but it's kind of cool that like once the draft is done, whoever's out there, you can swap them in your lineup. So these things, a lot of fun.
I love them. I got a QR code up top. Let me hide Coop's handsome face for a quick second here. You guys haven't signed up over at Drafters. Do yourself a favor. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draftersbb or just hit this QR code that you see right here. Use the promo code ALARM. You get 100% match up to $100. And I'm telling you, man, I mean, these drafts, this one that we're doing today is $10. The Sunday whale that we've been doing is $11. It's all very, very reasonable, and it's all much more contained. Like, that's what I love about it. I'm doing these drafts, Coop, and I'm competing in the Sunday whale against 2,500, 2,499 other people. Right. At the most, like that's what I'm competing against, as opposed to, I don't know, trying to shoot for the moon in a milli maker or something else like that. Nah, I like these a lot more. So Sign up, join the family. We're going to be doing another one of these drafts tomorrow. So hit up Coop in Discord or at Coop A Fiasco on the old Twitter machine and just, tell him you want in and he'll set you up with the link.
Yeah, today we did one. I just did first come, first serve for kind of the veterans here, though we do have a new drafter with us. First time draft of any kind with the family. Our buddy here, TCTX1, he got his badge over on the Discord for joining the family draft. So he's up and running. So we do got a new one here. Tomorrow we are going to put an emphasis on getting new people in. We haven't done one of these yet with like setting it up and doing all that. So I just wanted to make sure we got the regulars going for this one. Tomorrow, we're going to make a priority on new folks. So if you've never done a draft with us, then jump into that and draft with us here. And it should be a lot of fun. So it's a good way to kick things up and talk about some players. Again, a big emphasis on us this week is looking at guys who kind of underperformed in week 1 and saying, hey, you know what? I don't care about that. I'm going to lean into those guys just as much as ever, and we'll take the bounce back. So Jamar Chase did not have a good week 1. Gonna lean in. Don't care.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna try the opposite strategy. No, Derrick Henry. I mean, just Derrick Henry running is so beautiful. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the pick that I'm gonna make here, I thought you were gonna take him away from me, and I'll just say this, right? For me this week, DFS drafters draft here. Give me Brian Thomas. Give me the Jaguars. I think Liam Cohen is going to have this team humming for week 2, not to mention the fact that it's up against Cincinnati, which is a terrible, terrible defense. They might have contained some of the Browns last week, But this week here, I think we see a little bit more of a coming out party for Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. And I think that that's going to be a fantastic play here. Brian Thomas to the moon.
To the moon. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny when you listen to how often does a coach come out? Like they asked him what happened with Brian Thomas, and Liam Cohen had every play memorized, and he knew exactly where the misses were and where the fantasy points were. And he described a 100-yard, 1-touchdown game when he just went through and broke down the plays. So I'm not worried about Brian Thomas Jr. Unlike the whale, which we've been doing, which is just the main slate, I set this up to be the whole week because I figured, okay, it's just one draft with us. And it's a lot more people than just the main slate is like a 5-person draft. Mm-hmm. So I figured it's more people. We'll get the Thursday game in there. We'll get the Monday game in there, and we'll have them all in there. So for this one, we did special rules compared to what the other one is. But that's the only difference is the player pool is a little bit bigger because there's more games.
Thursday game is going to be really interesting. I'm curious as to your thoughts about that because one of the things that a lot of people are talking about, especially like we'll talk trades and buy lows and sell highs and everything like that on today's show. But I also want to do like a little bit of a waiver recap because I'm curious as to what you think of, Chris Rodriguez abandoned by everybody because he was inactive this past week. But it's a short week right now for Washington. Does Chris Rodriguez get activated to run between the tackles against Green Bay? I think that's something that we definitely need to check out. We definitely need to check out.
Yeah. So the thing with Chris Rodriguez is, again, you got to separate for me the guys that you love and the guys that you believe in from the guys that were just kind of fringe players. So for me, I was okay with dropping Rodriguez, but if he gets activated now, especially in leagues on like Sleeper or Yahoo, where they let you drop guys off your bench, I definitely, especially we play a lot of deep leagues, I'll consider sneaking him on the bench because sometimes teams, one game sample size is so interesting in terms of like the game planning and the things that teams come out and do. Like they very well could have just said, hey, you know what? This guy, he's not where we want him to be. We're going to hold him off, but then we're going to bring him in for Thursday and play him a bunch. So you never know. I'm hoping that Bill continues his reign and Austin Eckler has a big role, but you can't rule out those kind of things, man. It absolutely could happen. Say another big example that people don't like talking about is there's a real possibility with this Harold Fannin situation. And I think Harold Fannon's a great player, one of the best college tight ends of all time, if not the best. But you have to remember that teams will come out in these big division games and try to catch the other team off guard. We saw it last year. The exact example was the Baltimore Ravens. They came out week 1, and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman led in snaps and routes, and Mark Andrews led in snaps and routes. But then Isaiah Likely, a guy that people he wasn't on everyone's radar. The Chiefs weren't game planning for him. They came out and just drew up a bunch of plays and snuck him out and got him, 12 targets. He had 9 catches on 12 targets, 100 yards and a touchdown. And then he, once they did that and kind of got away with it, it went back to the following week just being kind of the way it normally was. Like there's a real possibility the Browns this week looked at what the Bengals did last year. What the Ravens did last year. And they came out this week and said, okay, they don't know what we know about Harold Fannin. They're not going to see it coming. Even though Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman and David Njoku played more snaps and ran more routes, they caught him off guard with Harold Fannin. Now, so we have to ask ourselves, is this something that's going to repeat, or is this something that's kind of a one-off? You never really know in one game sample size. He did only have a 65% route participation, which is what Isaiah Likely had last year. It's eerily similar.
So for me, I said that to you yesterday. Eerily similar.
I went back and looked, and it's like down to the exact number of snaps. And obviously, Likely had a better game, but Fannin still looked good. But it's one of those things where it'd be one thing if Fannin came out and got 9 targets and everybody else got 2. That's not what happened. Everybody got a bunch of targets. Cedric Tillman got 8. Jerry Jeudy got 8. David Njoku, facing tougher coverage, still got 5. So I'm willing to sneak him onto benches, but I can't go out and say, hey, you know what? This guy's going to catch 7 balls every single week because they're not even going to throw 48 times every week. So just be very careful with those type players, okay? That's all. Now, want to say what up real quick to everybody in the chat. First question there, Fannin Jr. as a tight end on waiver wire, worth a pickup? I'd say yes. I mean, if you have the bench spot for him, then yes. But I had so many people asking me, I had somebody ask me if they should drop Travis Kelce for Juwan Johnson or Harold Fannin. I was like, you got to be outside of your mind. But like even guys like Hunter Henry and these guys that have pretty set roles, I'm not doing that. I'm not going that far. I'm putting these guys on the bench, and if they do it 2 weeks in a row, then we're excited. And I will say, Juwan Johnson, 97% or 99% snap share.
Snap share, yeah.
Like that matters to me. But as Howard pointed out last week, you got to be careful with this because they threw over 40 times, which is above normal, over 45 times. And Olave and Shaheed both got targets too. So that's not a guarantee either. So just be very careful. There wasn't really a slam dunk waiver ad last night, unless you plan to start Marquise Brown for the next few weeks. Then I would have gone out of my way. Like if he was going to go right in my lineup, then I had one team where I did bid up on Marquise Brown because I have Rashee Rice on the bench, and I said to myself, I'm going to start this guy for 5 weeks. So I paid for him.
I hear you. Well, I mean, now that, since you've brought it up here, I mean, we might as well have this conversation because I definitely want to have this conversation regarding waivers, regarding pickups and things like that, because I think that, especially when you're talking about stashing players, Harold Fannin versus Juwan Johnson. I got into this debate yesterday because, and I said it, right? I said Juwan Johnson, the 99% snap share. If the Saints are going to be playing from behind, then I expect them to be throwing consistently, right? And is it going to be 47 times in a game? Maybe not, but it's still going to be significant. And you've got Juwan Johnson, who's not really competing for snaps with anybody. You've got Olave, you've got Shaheed. Okay, great. But then who's the third guy right there? It is Juwan Johnson. He's a converted wide receiver. So they line him up all over the place. It's not just locking him into the tight end situation, as opposed to Harold Fannin, which you and I discussed yesterday, in the sense that you don't know what his role is. David Njoku is still there. You've got right. Judy. You've got Tillman. Is Flacco going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the way? Like that's, you've got all of that kind of, blowing up there. And it's really become very, very interesting. But aside from doing something like that, I should make my pick, huh? All right, I'm just going to do this because I don't trust, even though does everybody have a quarterback except for me now?
No, TCT doesn't.
Doesn't. Okay. Well,
go, push the limit. I want to see you guys go.
I mean, I'm going to have to go with somebody else here. You know what? Let's, should we believe in Javonte again? Let's believe in Javonte again. Let's do it. Why not?
For 1 week.
And it's the Giants. It's the Giants.
I will say the one thing that I really when I was going through and doing my running back questionnaire, which we're going to get published for this year. It's something that we did every in the draft guide, and we figured we'll get that up. Joe Galina's got the handcuff report as well, but like this questionnaire kind of just tells you who does what. Javonte Williams had like an 80% route participation. Yeah. This was not a situation where he was like the starter and then Miles Sanders was the pass down back. He was the guy. So from that standpoint, like there's no reason to believe he won't go out there and be the guy again.
But to continue, the reason I took him here is actually there's a method behind the madness here, Coop. I took him because I wanted to kind of transition to that waiver conversation about stashing players. Now you've got your article on fantasyalarm.com about stashing, stashing waiver wire guys, streaming waiver wire guys, things like that. That is behind the paywall, so you are going to need a subscription, by the way. So you go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Use the promo code annual25, and that'll take an additional 25% off of the annual subscription, which is already discounted like 40%. So we're giving it to you for 65% off here. Great. Nevertheless, because I don't trust TCTX that he's not going to steal my Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to do that. But the reason that I asked about, that I grabbed Javonte Williams and I want to talk about this is because everybody and their grandmother is dropping Jadon Blue because he was inactive. Okay, I get that. Rumor has it he might be inactive this week as well. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. I'm not privy to that information. What I do know is that it's very tough to trust a guy like Javonte Williams after what we've seen over the last couple of seasons. It's nearly impossible to trust a guy like Miles Sanders. So to me, a guy like Jadon Blue, you drafted him 12th round, 13th round in your draft, and you put him on the bench because you expected you expect at some point this season he is going to take over and be the starting running back for the Cowboys. Has that opinion changed after one game of being inactive? I don't think so. So the question is if you're drafting a guy and you're using some draft capital, it's not huge draft capital, but if you're using a 12th or a 13th round pick because he's got, the potential of taking over, why are we churning the bench over here for a bunch of tomato can guys who who probably aren't even going to crack your lineup, over these next couple of weeks? Like, why is it okay to eat a bench spot and stash Rashee Rice for 6 weeks, but you're going to take a guy like Jadon Blue, who does have that a relatively nice path towards touches when he is active? Like, that's one of the things that it kind of boggles my mind. And since you do the stashes kind of a thing, is that your MO? Like, you're going to draft a guy in the 12th round and hope that he takes over the job, and 1 week, screw it. Like, give me Quentin Johnston, right? Give me something like that.
We are absolutely terrible at correctly looking back in the rearview mirror and assessing what actually did happen with these like breakouts and players of that nature. Like, we are some of the worst. In our minds, we look back, and people all the time comment to me and say like, oh yeah, Trey McBride, that was such an obvious ad the year he broke out. It's like, or the obvious pick, right? Or like Brian Thomas Jr. or Amon-Ra St. Brown as a rookie, or Hunter Renfrow when he broke out, or Logan Thomas. Like, these players, people forget, were useless for huge chunks of the season until they actually carved out a meaningful role. Trey McBride didn't even play. Amon-Ra St. Brown was useless his rookie year until week 11. Odell Beckham Jr., his rookie year, didn't even play until week 5. Like, we in hindsight, we just think that these guys were good all season. Go look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s game log. He was not good all season. He was good once Christian Kirk and Evan Engram got hurt. Then he was incredible. But like, if you believe in the talent, that's what you're doing. You're stashing these guys and hope that they can carve out a bigger role. So if you believed in Jadon Blue, maybe in a shallow league, you got to make moves to fill your lineup and stuff. But that's what your bench is for, stashing talented players. And a lot of times we're going to see people chasing guys that aren't talented that just make a play or two, and then they get disappointed when those guys don't play a full role, or when they say, oh my, I was too early on Jadon Blue. I was too early on these guys. So just be very careful. Make sure that when your designated spots to be your stash spots, that's what they're for. And you're holding out as much hope as you can for some of these guys, because again, it's not always Emeka Egbuka coming out and everybody's hurt, so he just plays right away. That rarely happens. It usually is these guys go out there and they play and they look good, and they either become so good that they take over a job and they hold on to it, or somebody gets hurt. A lot of times the other guy gets hurt. It's like, that's why we hold on to guys like Trey Benson. Trey Benson came out this weekend and looked solid in his limited role, but we're really holding him because he can be a handcuff plus. And the guy ahead of him is a 30-year-old guy that has never once played the entire season in his 8-year career. So that's why we hold on to these guys. Don't give up on certain players. We do our best to tell you where and when you can give up, though. Like certain guys that just aren't involved or don't play.
Bigsby.
You can give up. Yeah, he got traded.
Dump him. He got traded. He's now doing kick returning over in Philadelphia. They said that the trade had nothing to do with Will Shipley and the rib injury. So take that at face value right there. And you can dump Tank Bigsby, who will not be taking over for Travis Etienne. Like, we know that now, right? Bashal Tutin is that guy. So, so you can dump a guy like Bigsby, who we took 12th, 13th round, thinking that this was going to be, some decent upside and good depth and had some potential here. Once that potential goes away like that, then it's fine to dump. But I mean, just because the guy is inactive, right? I mean, for one game does not mean that, you just give up on him.
Especially because the RB2 lost the game. Like, let's say it how it is. Miles Sanders literally blew the game. So like, that you gotta hold on and just wait for those things. We didn't mention it earlier, but Mile High Luke is exactly right. We're doing trade questions today. We're doing DFS today. You know what? Since it's the first week and we didn't mention it at the top of the show, if you threw a start sit in there, we'll give you our early lean. But our philosophy is always this: you do not have to set your lineup until Thursday. And we don't know who's going to be practicing, who's not going to be practicing. even on Wednesday, these practices don't necessarily count, but like Monday and Tuesday practices in the modern NFL don't really even matter. So like we don't have all the information to really answer your start sits just yet. We have 2 shows tomorrow, one at 1 to 2, and then another one at 7 to 8 on this YouTube channel to answer every single question. So we do encourage people to ask your trade questions today. Tomorrow, do those. So we'll get to some DFS, but want to jump in and hit some questions in the chat?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I do want to also mention just on that note is Wednesday practice. Wednesday traditionally for teams that have a Sunday game or a Monday game, it's a veteran day off. Mm-hmm. So when you start seeing those reports, when you start going over to looking at Fantasy Alarm's player updates and stuff like that, and you see that somebody was did not participate in practice. Tyreek Hill did not participate in practice. T. Higgins did not participate in practice. Wednesday is traditionally a veteran day off for most guys. I mean, I don't think Calvin Johnson, remember Megatron? Dude never practiced on a Wednesday.
No. Never. Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones went a full half decade without working on Wednesday.
And they earned it. Ever doing it on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So just here we go. Keep in mind when you guys are like, oh, I'm freaking out. This guy didn't practice on Wednesday.
Yeah. Make sure you check the designation. Because like Calvin Johnson, he just never had a designation. It just said he didn't practice, but if he was hurt, they would put in there like Calvin Johnson toe. So keep an eye on that part too. And Dunn got a trade offer. Seems a no-brainer. Turned it down. Give up Josh Allen and Jaden Higgins to get T-Law and Egbuka. Yeah. No. That's way no chance. I mean, even if obviously Egbuka is much better than Higgins, but like Trevor Lawrence did not look good. So, and Josh Allen's the most valuable player in that format.
And I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I definitely do. But in a Superflex league, I mean, why would you give up your number one guy here? I mean, unless you think that Egbuka is not going to be affected when Chris Godwin does start coming back. Like it's a definite no-brainer to turn it down. And you are a wise lady.
Yep. Boom. I'm going to pull up my rankings. I did do the rankings are up for this week at Fantasy Alarm. If you want to check the weekly rankings there, if you want to get a head start on your start sits, I do tinker with them virtually every day and move guys around based on injuries. You have to, right, in this environment. But Jerry, you should know better than asking to start sit today. But because we love you and because it's week 1, we're all trying to work out the week 1 jitters. Goff or Love this week, Bender?
Goff or Love? I mean, Goff is home hosting the Bears. Jordan Love is on a short week here going up against the Commanders. I'd probably go Goff.
Yeah, I have Goff ahead, but I do have Love a lot higher this week in my rankings than I did last week. He looked good, but I do have Goff. Actually, I have Love one spot ahead. So I'm going. Really? I have Love ahead. He looked great, man. He looked great. They are low volume, but I think Washington's going to force them to throw a little more. A lot of what's happening is up here in the chat. Greg wants to know, trade away Jalen Warren for Tyreek Hill in Dynasty Superflex. Okay, so here's the thing. Normally, I would say yes. A report just came out as part of divorce proceedings for Tyreek Hill that as part of those proceedings, his estranged wife alleged 8 different incidences of domestic violence. That to me makes Tyreek Hill a absolute no in Dynasty. Absolute no. Because I know it's civil, but like this guy, it's just another one of a million things. I just am not interested in that player right now. He is a time bomb. So don't trade for Tyreek Hill right now. Don't bail your friend out.
Yeah.
Putting in some fab bids. Late fab bids here. Juwan needed for spot starts and some upside. Think of going 30 to 40 on both players. 34%.
That's too much. I mean, listen, I get it. You want the player and everything, but do we genuinely believe that Juwan Johnson you're talking about Kayshon Boutte and Juwan Johnson taking up 60 to 80% of your fab? Like, I mean, if this is if you're talking about like Scott Fishbowl, where there's nothing available on the waiver wire, then okay, maybe. But
you gotta give us context of like what the next best player on the wire is for to drop that much money. How do you see Sharp's value changing? Will be there time to try and trade for him, or am I just screwed? You don't want to have both Sharps and Walker. This is a bad situation for handcuffing. I think both players are going to play plenty. Walker still quietly played 56% of the early downs. I think he's going to be the early down guy when all is said and done. He's just getting back up to speed. But both these guys are going to play. So basically now I'm not trying to have both of those players on the same team. I'll tell you that. I'm just trying to, whichever one I have, I'm riding with them, and I start them if I have to, if I don't have full-time guys. So I have plenty of both guys, and I'm starting both in a lot of places. There was one league where I now have Walker on the bench just because I had Egbuka on the bench. So, but for the most part, I'm just starting both guys. They're both going to play.
So I've got a different take on that. I disagree with you. I think that Walker didn't play in the preseason, and eventually Walker will kind of push Sharps back into that support complementary role.
I agree. But that's what I mean when I say both guys will play. Like Walker, like Sharps plays like 40% in general.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I think that is going to actually diminish once Walker gets going and Walker starts to play a little bit more. I'm not saying that Sharps won't have a role, but I mean, this is not like Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. This is not, to me, it's not like that. To me, this could end up more like a Breece Hall, Braylon Allen sort of a thing, where it could end up being like a 70-30 or even an 80-20. I think Kenneth Walker needs to, play. Everything that I've read and everything that I've gone through as far as Seattle and as far as what Kubiak and Dennison want. And one of the things that they said during the preseason was we need our guys to be playing, and we need to know that our guy is going to be out there. And that was while Kenneth Walker was still slowly recovering from whatever his little ailment was during the preseason. And so they gave Sharps the play, and that's fine. But when you start looking at what this blocking scheme is and how much outside zone work they do, Walker definitely does better than Charbonnet on outside zone. Not to mention the fact that Walker was also the guy who was on the field during the passing downs as well. He got, 3 or 4 targets. He caught 3 passes. It was for no yardage and no gain, but so it's like that. So I'm not trading for Charbonnet because I actually think that his role diminishes over the next couple of weeks here, to the point where the guy who has him right now is going to end up dropping him for some flavor of the week. So that's my take based off of my research and everything like that. So, I'm not, saying that I heard this specifically from Kubiak. I'm trying to read between the lines and knowing what this coach has done over the years.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I'm fully with it because you watch Kenneth Walker, people forget how good this guy is and how perfect he is for this scheme. So it's only a matter of time, in my opinion. I'm saying don't do the trade. Howard's saying definitely don't do the trade. And Two Socks, this is exactly why we try not to do start sits today. Drake London has a shoulder issue, and we don't exactly know how that's going to sort out and if it's going to affect his play time or where he's going to be. Right now, I'm definitely starting. I mean, I would pencil Egbuka in until we see London at practice. And of the 3 guys you named before, I don't see why we wouldn't start Michael Pittman. He went out, he played a massive snap share. Was that?
Oh, Denver coming to town in Indianapolis.
Tough matchup. Do we go Khalil Shakir or J.K. Dobbins?
I almost want to say that you go Dobbins here just because he is the lead back. And Sean Payton said that one of the things that he wants to do is run the ball early more. He got a little overexcited for this first game, called 17 pass plays out of the first 18. So yeah, I think Dobbins is probably, I'd rather have Dobbins running against Indy than Pittman going up against Surtain. Shakir going up against the Jets, probably a good matchup for him, right? I mean, you're not going to see Sauce Gardner like covering Shakir. So that's not bad. If it's full point PPR, you could get away with that, but I'd still rather go with Dobbins and get the touches.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going Pittman still. I just believe in him. I'll go up against a tough matchup. I'm not worried about it. I want to remind you guys, we're trying not to do start sits today for tomorrow. If you do become a YouTube member of the channel or do a super chat or whatever, then we'll answer whatever question you want. You can ask us, favorite recipe for meatloaf, literally whatever questions you want. But for the most part, start sits, we'll give you our basic idea, but we need to see what's going on with the injury reports and everything. I'm going Mayfield over Goff so far, though. Let's see. What else
If you guys are looking to join, obviously membership has its privileges, because not only do we have custom badges, custom emojis that talk about, that show, your status within the family. Your questions all get bumped to the top. Like, we get a little notification. It's highlighted in some beautiful color. So if you just click the join button over there, it's $4.99 a month. But I'll tell you what, and for every show that we do, and we do shows every day of the week, except over the weekends. Well, no, we do one on Sunday morning. You want your questions answered immediately? Click that join button, spend the $4.99 for membership, and stay with the family.
Let's go. So this question here, what do we think about Pat's D? Got to see if Christian Gonzalez is going to play. Totally different defense with and without him. They still ran just as much man-to-man as they usually do, even without Gonzalez, and that went terribly, right? Jacoby Myers was just winning those matchups. And, Tyreek Hill this week, a little bit better than Jacoby Myers. I know he's got crazy stuff going on, but that guy can cause real problems. So let's see what goes on with Christian Gonzalez. And Fannin, if you want to do it that way, Ethan, in terms of route participation, it went Judy and Tillman tied for one. They ran the same number of routes. Njoku ran the second most routes. Fannin ran the third most. And Fannin didn't line up at wide receiver particularly all that much more than Njoku did. So wide receiver 4 is where he is if you really want to do the math that way. But again, Joe Flacco's high volume for, so as long as he's a guy, he's going to be the guy.
Why is everybody so hell-bent on making Fannin a thing?
Because people
I think
get
it's
really
like in Mean Girls, when the girl keeps saying fetch.
Yeah.
Fannin, fetch.
It's just fun.
Fetch.
He's a rookie. He had great college stats. It's fun. I'm just saying, be careful. Definitely be careful. Would you pick up Ramondre Stevenson? He played ahead of – so we got some clarity on some backfields. Like earlier, we mentioned Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. They did not do a split like Jordan Mason on rundowns and Aaron Jones on pass downs. That's not how the split was at all. They split like right down the middle. They both just rotated evenly, 50-50. You rarely see that, and it doesn't always hold that well over the course of the season, but it was right down the middle. With the Patriots, we expected something similar. Stevenson on rundowns, Henderson on pass downs. That's not how it worked out. Stevenson played more in every phase of the game, all 5. Early downs, pass downs, 2-minute drill, goal line. They were losing, so we don't know who's going to get the ball when they're up late, but he just played more. So until that changes, we'll have to see. I will say this, the Patriots' offensive line blocking was so brutally bad. There was only one play that was meaningful, run play, and it was a gadget handoff on 3rd and 1 to Henderson. And Ramondre Stevenson, Howard, this week had 17 yards after contact and finished the day with 15 yards. So the run blocking is non-existent. So,
but he does get Miami.
He gets Miami. So
although
maybe
Miami at home, teams come down with that Miami flu. Visiting teams get down there a little early, spend the night, sipping on some mojitos, some Cuba Libres, and the next thing you know, they come out the next day being like,
yeah, it's so funny, dude. You hear the college. I heard a college coach this year talking about taking his team to go play in Las Vegas, and he was like, "Yeah, we're an hour drive away from the stadium," and they were like, "Why?" And he's like, we found the closest hotel that doesn't have a casino in it is an hour away. He's like, we're not putting these kids.
Really? I thought the Westin down in the near the bottom of the strip, the Westin does not have.
Hey, so maybe they went with the most affordable one that doesn't have a casino in it. Yeah. Actually, he might have been talking about, where's Biloxi? Is that in Mississippi? So it might have been them visiting Mississippi, but he was
near the riverboats. You don't want to go near the riverboats.
He was like, he's like, look, we had to get our guys away from them. Trade here for George. Someone offered me Ridley for Myers, non-PPR league. I'm thinking Ridley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad matchup this week. And Myers, so here's the crazy thing. If Patrick Surtain were out and Christian Gonzalez were in, then we would have seen a complete flip in these guys. Like that's a perfect way to take advantage of a 1-game sample size. I got offered Nico Collins and Quinshon Judkins for Bill and Calvin Ridley.
Oh, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
I do that too.
Heartbeat.
This is great. Yeah, go for Nico Collins. Nico Collins is awesome. He's going to be just fine. Want to start Juwan over Andrews? I would start Andrews. I will say this. There are a few guys out there that are a real problem for tight ends, and the Bills, Matt Milano is one of them. This guy, Matt Milano, is always hurt, but when he's not hurt, he really is good at covering the tight end. And I rewatched a bunch of those routes, and it was just one of those things where they were basically sending Andrews and like into Milano and the safeties, and it was helping Flowers get open. And the offense, and Derrick Henry was running over everybody. They only threw 20 something times.
Well, and that's the thing. You and I kind of pointed this out to everybody last year when you're talking about usage rates. Look at the snap share for Charlie Kolar in games where we expect to see Derrick Henry run over a team like he did with the Bills, right? Then Charlie Kolar is going to play more snaps because he's going to be tethered to the line and he's going to block. So in games where you think that, it's a super soft run defense and Derrick Henry's just going to go banana cakes, then maybe you think about sitting Andrews because he's not going to see, as strong of a snap share, and they're probably not going to throw as often. That's the beauty of having Derrick Henry there. So just kind of check out run defenses that they're facing.
Yeah. Thoughts on Chuba? Good news for Chuba. He got of the 5 types of usage a running back can get, he got 4 of them. He only gave up third downs, but Howard, they used him on the 2-minute drill. So he still knows the playbook better than Rico Dowdle. They don't trust Dowdle in the 2-minute drill. So Dowdle played a few third downs. Chuba played virtually everything else. So, doesn't get much better than that.
How many times did Dowdle carry the football?
I don't think he did.
He did 1.
One.
I'll give him 1.
One.
This is something that I identified, and I told you guys in the preseason. This is why Chuba Hubbard was a flag plant of mine. Dave Canales wants 1 running back.
Right.
He'll use Dowdle to give Chuba Hubbard a rest here and there, but I'm not even going to say that Dowdle is going to be, if he showed up on a third down play here or there, okay, fine. But this is not Dowdle's going to be the third down back for Carolina. Chuba Hubbard is the lead back in Dave Canales' system, and he will continue to see volume.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams will do this where it's like if you run the starter on first and second down, then the other guy just plays third down. That's kind of what it felt like watching that game. So, which is fine.
Maybe in the beginning of the season.
I'm saying that if you don't run Chuba both those downs, he probably stays in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like if they throw on second down, maybe they don't take Chuba out. But that's what I was seeing is that if they're running Chuba heavy, then they just say, okay, you come out for this third. That because Dowdle did play every third down, but they were running heavy with him. Would you give up Egbuka for Tyreek Hill? I don't think I would. I'm scared. Everyone is trying to trade away Tyreek Hill because they saw the news that he has been accused of domestic violence, right? So I'm not trading for that guy right now. I can't. If you're going to trade Egbuka, trade him for somebody else. Twitch gang in the house. Twitch glasses. Get those unpacked yet, Bender? Yeah, there we go. Kicking myself for drafting K9, have CMC, Jones, Tracy's my other backs. Should I drop Mooney for Sampson? No. Your running backs are awesome, and you're going to be fine. Kenneth Walker's going to be fine, man. Don't worry about him.
No, kicking myself for drafting him. I'm sorry, Brad. That's a terrible statement, dude. That's a terrible statement, my friend. But that's okay. Tight. You want to kick him?
If we get to week 5,
yourself for it, that's fine.
If we get to week 5 and the usage doesn't change, then you can kick yourself. But it's been 1 week, man. It's going to be 1 week. Yes, go Pats.
Oh, keep them on.
Go Pats, absolutely correct. Twitch gang, we love you guys. We love you guys that watch on Twitter. If you come over to the YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe. That helps us out. You can do that for free, but we don't care where you watch as long as you guys are hanging out with us. So, but come to YouTube. How's it going, Pats? Would you start Fields or Burrow? I'm starting Joe Burrow this week. I had a hard time not ranking Burrow like QB2 this week. It's a very good matchup for him. I think he's going to bounce back in a big way. I'm not worried about Joe Burrow in one bit. Him going against the Jaguars, yeah, I'll go ahead and start him. I think the over-under for that game is 50. So that should be a good one for fantasy. Again, start sit questions tomorrow, please. If you could do that. Butte or Quentin Johnston. That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. I do think I have Butte ranked ahead of Quentin Johnston.
I would go Butte over him. Was Chargers are playing the Raiders in Las Vegas Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Butte. He led his team. He led his team in
I just
snaps.
think Butte. I think Booty's the number 2 guy there, isn't he?
Right now, he's number 1. I mean, they're easing Diggs in. Diggs did not play a full snap share, got 7 targets, which is good. But Butte he led the team in snaps, routes, targets, receptions, and yards. Like, there's not even a stat, but besides Demario Douglas catching the touchdown, like he led in everything. Hard to be disappointed with that. Lamar Jackson and Pittman for BTJ, Jonathan Taylor, and Cam Ward. This is a super flex trade. My rule of thumb is typically whatever you got to do to get Lamar Jackson, you do it. And we also like Pittman. He would have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Does it even matter what the rest of your lineup is?
I mean, yeah, it does matter. I'd like to see what your running backs are going to look like by getting rid of JT. I'm fine if you want to get rid of BTJ Ward. Okay, great. But I mean, are you slitting your throat at running back by trading away JT? Who else did you draft?
I just feel like I would just see this may be a weakness of mine, but I would just do that and figure it out. I would just I would spend all my fab on every running back and go basically treat it like 0 RB. But because, dude, if you have those QBs, Bender, so good.
That's great. Absolutely. But you don't but see, that's the thing. That's why you've got people who are willing to wait on running back waiting on quarterback, because it is a deep position, because you can get strong points from guys who are not necessarily Lamar and Josh Allen. Now, you've got a guy like Allen who's locked in there. I got no problem with that. I don't like Tua and I don't like Ward, and I love getting Lamar there, but I just need to see what your running back situation looks like. You show me one legitimate RB1 on your roster beyond beyond JT, and I'll say make that deal.
Yeah. Also, I'm very much interested in who the quarterbacks are for this other kid. And if you could be creating a monster if he hit on some sort of I wonder who that other guy has that makes him say that he can trade Lamar. I have Brees. Should I trade Mims for Braylon Allen? Marvin Mims? Yeah. Marvin Mims hardly even played, and he's a gadget slot guy. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. Brees Hall was awesome. I mean, Brees Hall is going to be great, but at least you can get the handcuff for your guy. And Braylon Allen could have some standalone value. Not to mention, I think Brees Hall might have. I'm not sure if this week he put the trade talks to rest or made him he definitely made himself a candidate that people would want to trade for. But I think maybe they saw him this week and said, let's just keep this guy. He's really good. We already did that one. Najee worth a stash? Yeah, I would say. I mean, again, just like Kenneth Walker, dude didn't play the entire offseason. He doesn't know the offense. He needs to learn it, but they're going to use him. They'll use him. They're not going to – the carries are probably not going to be 15-1 every week. I'll tell you that. I would rather stash Fannin over Thornton. You agree on that? Thornton was in terms of the pecking order of both usage, routes, and targets, it went Jacoby Myers 1, Brock Bowers 2, Trey Tucker was very clearly 3, and Thornton was a pretty distant 4.
Yeah, I would rather stash Fannin, just because some sucker in your league, if Fannin gets 6 targets this coming week, some sucker in your league is going to want to overpay you for him. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm real nervous about Fannin, but I even added him in a couple spots just because it's like, hey, I'm doing yin and yang tight ends. Let's go for upside. Offered Nico Collins and Quinshon Judkins for Bill and Calvin Ridley. Got offered that. So he gets Nico and Judkins. Basically, I think I would do that.
We answered this one already.
Okay, we did? Yeah.
Yeah, we said take Collins and Judkins.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just rehashing it. Yes, of course. We're getting a lot of these in here, the same ones. Go Pats. Would you start? You only have to ask your question once. We're scrolling through. We're making our way down the list here. Again, we're going to hit on all the start sits tomorrow when we have more injury information, both offensive and defensive players. Sutton or Myers, though, as it stands right now. Let's see. Sutton is going up against the Colts. And Myers is on Monday, right? Against the Chargers. It's Sutton.
Oh, it's Sutton for me in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's going on with Tracy? Well, the Giants are not a good football team, so that's going to be a big problem. They tried Cam Scatterbo on the goal line, and he got crunched. So they actually went back, and Tracy got like virtually all the snaps, but like, it's a bad team. So we'll have to see what happens here. The Cowboys were easy to run on last week. I'm not sure what the status is on Mazzie Smith. I'm not even sure if that matters necessarily. If Tracy could have a better week this week, if he doesn't, then we're in big trouble. And then we're possibly looking at Jackson Dart being the starter. So I'm not giving up on Tracy. He got a ton of work at least. Rather, split backfields on bad teams, that's the nightmare. If one guy's getting most of the work, then I'm cool with that. Trade Terry McLaurin and Jalen Warren to get Chase Brown and Egbuka.
Give McLaurin. I wanted to get Chase Brown and Egbuka. Mind you, I have Debo.
It doesn't matter if you have Debo or not. I'm trading for Chase Brown and Egbuka.
Sure.
Jalen Warren, he's fine.
Yeah, I like Chase Brown a little. I like him more than Warren. Again, the big question is whether or not Egbuka, carves out that role. I think he does carve out a role, but you cannot expect his target share to stay the same once Godwin comes back. So
exactly.
Just something that you have to understand.
Right. The upside case for Egbuka is the same as the upside case last year for Chuba Hubbard. Right. So at this time last year, we were sitting here with Chuba Hubbard saying, okay, he's playing really well and he looks great. He should maintain some role when Jonathan Brooks comes back, but we don't know what that's going to look like. But then when Jonathan Brooks came back, he was eased in and he got hurt right away. Like there's a possibility that Chris Godwin gets eased in when he gets back. There's a possibility that Chris Godwin, coming off a major a surgery and then a second surgery, that he just never really quite appears this year. So I'm rooting for Godwin. I have a ton of Godwin, but there is an upside case for Egbuka that's really appealing for a very talented player. We did that one. We have Kamara, Jones, Warren, and Tootin. Those are the running backs for the trade for Lamar Jackson.
Is that Aaron Jones, Jalen Warren, Tootin with Kamara? Then yes. Then now I'm making that deal.
Do it.
Now I'm making that deal for Lamar. 100%. 100%.
Yep. Swift owner holding Monangai as a handcuff. Is he the better hold over Roshan? It looked like DJ Moore was RB2. Yeah. Right.
I think
Monangai didn't even play.
Probably the better upside play here. There's a reason Roshan was inactive in week 1. So I would probably go with Monangai. Again, it's one of those situations, and we talked about this with regard to Jacksonville and them trading away Bigsby. Coop said, he talked about the fact that it's a new regime and they drafted this guy. So they want to put their stamp on it, right? That's what they did with Bucky Irving taking over for Rachaad White in Tampa Bay. So now Bashal Tootin was their draft pick this year. So they tossed aside Bigsby. It's the same thing here. Ben Johnson used that draft capital on Monangai, not Roshan Johnson.
Dude, we got to get some sort of special super chat glasses, Bender, because we got a super chat in here. Now that we got this going this year, we got to figure something out for some big time. Maybe for every super chat, we go with the.
Yeah, no, you can. I won't be doing that.
That could be too aggressive going with the wrestling mask.
It does seem a little on the aggressive side here.
We'll get this sorted. But for now, super chats the rest of the day today. We'll be rocking these.
Smash accept here. If you're going to get rid of Booty for Calvin Ridley is locked in as the number one.
I got that trade offer. I would need a new phone screen.
Yeah.
For how hard I'm smashing that button to get Ridley. So absolutely do that trade. This thing doesn't even have a mouth hole. It's getting very warm inside here. Just talking of very.
Yeah, for the number of family members who are going to be members for our YouTube page, you might want to rethink that for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Cut like a little mouth hole in there.
I'll be wearing that for hours straight on Sunday for the YouTube Sunday show. Yeah, I got that from Mauricio. Gave me that at the expo, dude. Shout out to
from the expo.
He had the extra.
Mauricio Gutierrez. I love that
Mauricio,
dude.
yeah, he
I
had
love Mauricio.
he's the man. Yeah, he had the. He's like, here you go. He's like, you read this? I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely, I will take one of those. Here we go. Outdoor Dan, what's up, man? All right, last question here, and then we're gonna jump in. Just give you some quick DFS plays. Again, the DFS watch list is up and running. The watch list, which turns into the playbook, so you can go get a head start on that stuff if you're a Fantasy Alarm member. Outdoor Dan wants to know. Always great seeing your question. Who has more value, tight end Fannin or tight end Juwan Johnson? I have Juwan Johnson ahead. I mean, in terms of target pecking order and route participation, he was. I mean, the easiest way to say it is that Juwan Johnson is not competing with David Njoku. Both teams have two wide receivers that played a ton and got a bunch of targets, right? But Juwan Johnson had the full role to himself. He played 74 of 75 snaps. He got 11 targets. He had a huge route participation. He ran 71% of his routes from a wide receiver spot. He had an 8.2% ADOT. His profile looked as close to perfect as you can get. Like his profile this week looked like how they deployed Trey McBride. You know what I mean? Like he was out there running routes as a wide receiver, getting targets all over the place. And Fannin looked good too. But again, only a 65% route participation for him, which was behind David Njoku, who was behind Jerry Jeudy, who was behind Cedric Tillman, and they just kind of caught the Bengals off guard. So still a good stash as well, but it's Juwan over him for sure. Let's give the people a couple DFS plays that you're feeling good about early on, Bender. You got anything up there? Any teams, any players?
Things Jaguars this week. I do believe in Liam Cohen, and I do believe it. Yes, Trevor Lawrence did not look good in this game here this past week. They still won. Not a tough opponent in Carolina, but they still won. And I think coming into this week, I think Liam Cohen's going to have Trevor Lawrence much better prepared. It's Cincinnati. I don't like their defense. I will use Trevor Lawrence. I will use Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not ready to sign off yet on Travis Hunter or Brenton Strange, but I would consider like using like a 3-man stack in a DFS GPP lineup, and you can take your pick, like price wise there, whether you want to use Hunter or whether you want to use Brenton Strange. I think Brenton Strange probably is the better one because Cincinnati has always been weak against the tight end. Harold Fannin.
Yeah.
So
they were dead last against the tight end last year.
Yeah, so that's where I would go. I'm also locking down Philadelphia wide receivers.
Yeah. I checked out the watch list myself. I love your take on Trevor Lawrence, and I love your take on Caleb Williams. And if I went back and watched that game again this year, I'm making it a point to watch the condensed games over just in case I miss something. You know, we get a little crazy when we're watching these games, flipping the coffee table and running up
in the family room, typing away.
The family room was crazy this week.
Games on this
screen, I'm like running up to tell my wife that Michael Pittman caught a touchdown. You know, like finding her outside and being like, he caught it. And she's like, who? I don't care. I'm like, you would get it. I'm like, if you were with us the last 6 months, you would understand.
You know what it felt like? This is what I felt. I felt like, and since you're a new dad, you understand what this is. Imagine taking Lainey and putting her in a circle of your and your wife's friends. And each person has like a keychain filled with keys. And they're just like, shake them. And Lainey doesn't know which way to look. Like, that's how I felt on Sunday. It was Sunday, dude.
Yeah, the family room's awesome. We're going to be doing that for sure. So make sure you guys are set up with the Discord if you're a Fantasy Alarm member, because that was really cool. But I love your take, just like Lawrence, on Caleb Williams. Because when I went back and watched that game, Ben Johnson actually came out with a great, you know how they say, like, okay, we're going to script out the first 10 plays of the game. The game started with Caleb Williams. He was great with the script at the beginning, 9 of 9 completions. But then they didn't adjust well when Brian Flores started to blitz. They didn't blitz at all in the first couple drives, and then they turned around and blitzed him, and they couldn't adjust. And I think that was a big learning experience for Ben Johnson. They're going to bounce back in a big way this way, hopefully against Detroit. So I'm in on that. I'm going back to the well with Michael Pittman because he's cheap once again. A guy I like, Chigakonkwo quietly got an 88% snap share, which that was like the first step. We're like, is this guy even going to be a full-time player? And a lot of our players that we were rooting for weren't. Jatavian Sanders didn't quite get a full-time role. Mason Taylor played a bunch, but didn't really get a lot of targets. Chig, in a very difficult Denver matchup, Played 88 snaps, got 4 targets. So that's a guy he's real cheap again this week that I'll be looking at. But again, we're going to get that all sorted up in the playbook. Tomorrow, jump on in and we're going to be doing start sits. That's where nobody gets yelled at. Ask whatever question you want tomorrow because we're going to have a lot more information.
Whoa. You're saying I can't yell at people tomorrow?
You can yell at a couple people.
No, come on.
You can yell at a couple people.
You can't take that away from me. Because you're going to get a question that's going to be like, I want to sit A.J. Brown and start Quentin Johnston. You know that's going to happen.
Okay. Well, we're going to try not to yell at people.
Don't take that away from me.
I'll try to get him in, but you might get yelled at. Okay. But you won't get yelled at just for asking a start sit.
Okay, there you go. That's better.
Last couple here, last Twitch gang. Broly wants to know Chase and Harrison Jr. for Henry and Irving. I never like trading my whole team. Don't like trading the whole core of your team for other players. I don't like doing that. So I wouldn't do it, man.
I probably wouldn't do it either. I would love to know who your current running backs are and your current wide receivers are that you'd be doing this mammoth trade. Like this is
Chase Brown that he's talking about.
That's a big deal. Give up Chase Brown?
I know. I'm guessing. I mean,
if it's just crazy Chase to Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr. for Derrick Henry and Bucky Irving, then I'm definitely taking the Henry Irving side.
Yeah.
But if that's Jamar Chase.
But if Jamar Chase, I'm not doing. I'm just keeping.
I'm not doing it.
Jaden Higgins or Tillman rest of the season. Jaden Higgins, unfortunately, they went with the veterans. So it was Nico was the number 1 guy, and then it was also, unfortunately, Xavier Hutchinson. And Tillman wasn't even third. There was another Justin Watson, bro. Justin Watson played over Jaden Higgins as well. So,
I love that, right?
Yeah.
I felt that same way when I watched Josh Reynolds catching footballs on Sunday.
Dude, you know what Josh Reynolds' route participation was this week?
Big.
100%.
Big.
100%. Him and Cooper Kupp were the worst 2 wide receivers to get a 100% route
100% snap share, 100% routes run.
Since Alec Pierce. Since Demir Bird.
That's a pull.
Yeah.
We just need to do one of those. We just need to do a live stream where we just start naming random players.
Just naming like garbage, all exercise team players. All right. Egbuka or Devontae Smith?
Tampa Bay is. I think Tampa's a Monday night game, right?
Start Egbuka while he's hot, man.
Yeah, against Houston. Yeah, because I think you're going to see a lot of Derek Stingley on Mike Evans there. So I think Egbuka is probably the better one that I would use.
Chiefs are tough, man. Southco, should I trade Ridley for Travis Hunter? I don't think I'm going to hang on to Ridley. I see one more game of Ridley. I wouldn't trade. Don't trade Ridley away after his work. After he plays his toughest, literally the toughest matchup he'll face all season.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you're selling at the absolute lowest. I gave up Kenneth Walker for Judkins. No, that's bad. I wouldn't have done that, Garrett. I probably wouldn't have done that. But hey, you never know, man. We never know until things play out. So
dude, I love trading away my 4th round pick for a guy I probably got in the 10th round that hasn't played it down yet in the NFL. I love doing that. I love it.
It's tough one, Garrett, but hey, you never know. You never know. All right. That's it for us. We're out of here today. We'll be back at 1:00 p.m. tomorrow, hitting on all your start sits. We're going to have a lot more information that we can give you about injuries. Also, we're going to do another one of those drafters drafts. If you didn't join today, if you didn't get a chance to draft with us, hit me up on the Fantasy Alarm Discord or hit me up on Twitter at Coop A Fiasco right there. And we'll get you in. If you use promo code ALARM, if you're not set up on drafters yet, just use promo code ALARM. They'll give you a 100% deposit match up to $100. That way you're making sure you maximize your minimum and you're getting set up over there. So we're going to do another one of those drafts to kick off tomorrow. They take 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll get into start sits. So thank you everybody for tuning in today. Mr. Bender, do you have anything else before we get them on out of here?
Yeah, I'd like to finish today's session with a hearty
adios, turd nuggets.